Good morning, Keller Williams. That's my best Marty Miller impression. It's not very good. This is talking about comps and how to get comparables easily when you're on the MLS. So we log to FlexMLS. We're going to cruise up here to Quick Search in the toolbar and make sure that you're on residential search. By the way, if you're going to do anything for vacant land, then you would click this arrow and then you could switch vacant land, multifamily, commercial, waterfront, so on and so forth. But we're staying in the residential space. 1,622 houses on the market today as of 4:40 in the afternoon, May 1st, 2026. By the way, this morning there was 1607 and yesterday was 1557. Inventory is coming alive. Always does this time of the year. Okay, I'm going to close that out, and then you notice that you've got a map. This is what you want to work with is your map view. On the bottom right corner, you're going to see this like toolbar. You're going to find the red pen and click on the red pen. A box will show up saying locate the address. We're going to go ahead and put the address in of the subject property that we would like to evaluate and pull the comparables for. And so this is 2536 West Renoir Drive in beautiful Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, 83815. We're going to say locate, and it's going to drop the pin on the piece of property. And so you're going to just make sure look at it, make sure that it's about correct. Yes, we're going to click on use this location. And then we're going to do a radius search. And it's going to always default to 1 mile. Well, you can see that this is a very densely populated area, and 1 mile is going to be way too far. So we're going to go 0.5 miles. And then we're going to say create the radius. And the screen's going to turn blue because that's the circle. And then what we're going to do is we're going to scroll out a bit so that we can actually see what's going on. There it is. I'm going to close this. Now you can see these green dots. That means those are the homes that are selected within that area. And over here on the left, below residential search, you'll notice that the check mark is checked for status and it says active and active with bump clause. So the green means active. Pending, by the way, would be yellow. And closed is blue. I don't know why it's blue, but it is blue. So we want to find, and whenever you're comparing a property, you always want to compare. Well, let me back up for a second. How do we know how much something is worth? That's right. Good job. Well, somebody else is willing to pay for it. So we want to, whenever we're comparing properties, the first one to look and give the most weight to the properties that have already closed escrow within a certain period of time. Okay. And so for our market area, we really want to not go more than about 90 days back. Now, in certain areas, you may have to go 120 days. You may even have to go 180 days. In some rare cases, you may have to go a year. But come to me and let's chat about it before you go that far out on your time frame. If you can't find anything in 90 days, then come talk to me. Otherwise, we're going to go ahead and say 90 days. So right underneath where it says closed, and sold date is checked. We're going to erase 366 and we're going to type in 90. The map will refresh, and you can see that we now have 20 homes that have closed escrow in the last 90 days in that bubble, if you will. So now what we're going to do is we are going to try and narrow this down a little bit more by simply coming over here and saying our subject property is a 5-bedroom. So we're going to say minimum of 4 bedrooms. Let's see how many properties. 7 properties come up. That's a real good, by the way, how do I know that? First of all, I can count the blue dots. Secondly, up here, right above residential search and right above the status, you'll see view results 7. I'm going to go ahead and click on, because I'm happy with 7 results, I'm going to click on 7 results. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the homes that are most similar to the subject property. Remember, I've already got the 3 rules of real estate dialed in. Location, location, location. Now I've got to find the most similar product. What I see a lot of brand new agents do is confuse the year built. So I recognize and understand that I'm telling you that location means most of everything, and if it's a 2025 year built and our subject property is a 2011, that's not likely to be a great comp. So we're not going to use this one here. It's built in 25. We're not going to use this one here on Victor Loop. but we are going to use this one on Sorbonne. In fact, Sorbonne is literally right behind the subject property and across the street. So that's a great, perfect comp. It's the same year built, same builder, Aspen Homes. And then we're going to go to Rovin, and Rovin was built in '06. That's going to work out for us. We're going to click that one. And then this is 25, this is 25, so we're not going to. And Baldidier was built in 2017, and it's 5 bedrooms, 3.5 bathrooms. We're going to go ahead and say okay to that. We have 3 comps. You want a minimum of 3 comps if you can. That's the sweet spot. 3 to 5. You don't want to have any more than 5. It makes it confusing. So we have 3. That's adequate. That's all we need. That's the minimum, and we're going to go with it. So now I'm going to click on select the 3. These are now the 3 comparable properties that I have that I can begin to work with and evaluate against the subject property and determine things like how close in square footage, how close in number of bedrooms and bathrooms, year built, and size of lot that it's on. Okay, I'm also going to take some things into consideration like the days on the market. So this house on Sorbonne sold for $739,000. It was 2,500 square feet. Our subject property is 2,800 square feet. This is 4 bedrooms. Our subject property is 5 bedrooms. This is 2.5. Our subject property is 3. There's 4-car garage. Subject property is a 2.5-car garage. 2012 and 2011 is the same year built. They used all the same materials and all that. I would not make an adjustment for that. 0.16 is the same size lot. So 739 is a reasonable, that's a really good comp because it's in the same area, just right around the corner. So yeah, we're going to go with that comp. It's good. We might make an adjustment or 2 for the footage, but then again, it kind of is offset by the fact that it's got this 4-car garage. Then Rovin, kind of the same thing. It's a lot bigger though, and it sold for $739, so we would take some money away for the square footage, but it's got the same number of bedrooms and bathrooms. And then Baldidier is about the same size. It's within 20 square feet of being the same size. 5 bedrooms, 3.5, so it's an extra half bath, built in 17 on a quarter of an acre, so it's a little bit bigger. It sold for $865, and it's a little newer, and it's a little bigger, so $865 is probably a little too high, so we would make an adjustment down for this half bath, for the 3-car garage, the year built, and the lot to bring this back down to where it would be within reason. Okay, so that's on another video on exactly how to conduct the market analysis and dive in deep on evaluating each one. You have to see the other video for that. This today was how do I find the comps? How do I search and find them and pull them up, and what am I looking for? So there you have it. Happy CMAing, and catch you next time.